Hi. I don't really know how to start this. I guess I just need to talk to someone, even if it's just a camera, or a stranger, or no one. I just need to say it out loud. My name is Kayla. I'm 16. I live in a small town in Indiana. It's one of those places where everyone knows everyone, or at least they think they do. I go to a regular high school. I live with my parents and my little brother, Tyler. We're not rich or anything, but my parents are really good people. Strict sometimes, but they love me. They always try to do what's best. I'm lucky for that. I was never the girl who got in trouble. I didn't party. I wasn't the loud type. I got decent grades. I stayed out of drama. I had a small group of friends and I liked things simple. And then I met Ryan. He wasn't the bad boy, if that's what you're thinking. Actually, he was kind of charming. Sweet, funny, the kind of guy who knows exactly what to say to make you feel like you matter. He played on the school's soccer team. Not the star or anything, just confident. Cute. Confident in a way that makes you feel safe and excited at the same time. We started dating in spring. It all felt so exciting at first. Late-night texts, walking home together after school, sharing headphones on the bus. I felt wanted, seen, and he always told me, "I got you. You can trust me." He used to say, "I'd never let anything happen to you." I believed him. Things moved fast. Faster than I thought they would. It was my first serious relationship, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew I liked him, and I wanted to feel close to him. I remember one night, we were sitting in his car after a movie, parked near this lake just outside of town. That's when it first happened. Afterward, I was nervous. He could tell. I asked him, "What if something happens?" And he smiled and said, "Nothing will. I've got it all under control." I believed that too. Weeks went by, then a month. I felt weird, but I thought it was stress or hormones. Then I missed my period. Then 2. And suddenly I was standing in a grocery store bathroom, holding a test in my shaking hands, staring at 2 pink lines I didn't want to see. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream. But I just sat on the toilet, staring at it while my heart pounded so loud it felt like it was echoing off the walls. I didn't tell anyone at first. I couldn't. I didn't even know how to say the words. How do you go from "I'm fine" to "I'm pregnant"? I started acting different, quieter. I stopped hanging out after school. I couldn't sleep. I would just lie there at night, thinking about what was growing inside me, about what I was supposed to do now. I kept hearing his voice in my head. "I've got it under control." And now I wanted to yell at that voice. Eventually, I told my mom. I'll never forget her face. She was shocked. Of course. But not angry like I thought she'd be. She sat down beside me, took my hand, and just said, "We'll get through this." And somehow, those words made me cry harder than I ever have. My dad was quiet when he found out. Really quiet. But later that night, he came to my room and just hugged me. He didn't say much, just, "We love you, no matter what." I know a lot of girls don't get that. Some get kicked out, or blamed. But my parents, they showed up. And that means more than I can ever explain. They took me to the clinic to confirm everything. I was 7 weeks along. I didn't know what to feel. I was terrified, but also strangely calm. Like part of me knew this was real now, and I had to deal with it. When I told Ryan, everything changed. At first, he froze. Then he smiled. That fake, tight smile people do when they're trying to act okay. He said, "Wow, okay, that's a lot." Then after a long pause, he said, "Well, I guess we'll figure it out." But something was off. His voice didn't sound like it used to. His eyes didn't meet mine. He said he needed time to think. Time to think. I went home and cried for hours. I thought he'd step up, that he'd hold my hand and say we'll be okay. But instead, he started texting less, taking longer to reply, saying he was busy, that he wasn't sure if it was the right time to talk. I knew what was happening. He was pulling away, and I felt like I was falling. I didn't hear from Ryan for a few days, not even a, "How are you?" It was like I told him the biggest news of my life, and he disappeared. I kept checking my phone, waiting, hoping, overthinking everything. And then it happened. I was walking to my locker at school when I saw her, Emily. She was standing with a couple of girls near the bathrooms, looking pale, shaky, like she'd just seen a ghost. Emily wasn't a close friend, but we'd been in the same classes since middle school. Quiet, always polite, kind of artsy. We had mutual friends, but we never really hung out. She caught my eye for a second, and in that second something shifted. Her face changed, like she wanted to say something, but didn't. Later that day, my friend Jessie, she's my best friend, the only person at school who knew about the pregnancy, came up to me in the hallway looking like she'd seen something wild. "Kayla, you're not going to believe this," she said. "Emily, she's pregnant too." I froze. My stomach dropped. "No way," I said. Jessie nodded. "She told Sarah during lunch, said she just found out. Same timing as you, pretty much." And then she said the words that hit harder than anything else. She says it's Ryan's. The hallway spun. I remember holding onto the wall, trying to process. No way. That can't be real. She must be confused. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. All those times he said he was busy. All those texts he didn't answer. The weird way he acted around me and other girls. I just didn't want to believe it. I went home that night and sat in my room for hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the wall. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged Emily. It was short, just, "Hey, I heard. Can we talk?" I didn't think she'd reply, but a few minutes later she did. We met up behind the school the next day, sitting on a bench near the old football field. It was awkward at first. She looked as nervous as I felt. Then I said it. "Is it true? About you and Ryan?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah. I didn't know about you. I swear." We sat in silence for a minute before she added, "He told me I was the only one." I let out a dry laugh. "Yeah, same." We talked for over an hour. She told me everything. How they'd been kind of talking for a few months. How he'd always say things like, "You're different," and "I can be real with you." Sound familiar? Turns out he'd been seeing us at the same time. Neither of us knew. Neither of us had a clue. And now, both of us were pregnant. By the same guy. Emily's voice shook when she said, "I don't even think he knows I'm pregnant yet. I haven't told him." I nodded slowly. "He knows about me. He didn't take it well." There was something in her eyes. Not anger, not jealousy. Just sadness. Like we were both stuck in something way bigger than we ever imagined. "I don't know what to do," I said quietly. "Me either," she whispered. We just sat there, two 16-year-old girls with the same broken story, staring at the grass and the gray sky. Later that night, I finally confronted Ryan. I texted him. "You lied to both of us. I know about Emily." At first, he denied it. Then, when I didn't let up, he said, "It's complicated." Complicated. That word made me want to scream. I told him it wasn't complicated. It was cowardly, selfish, wrong. And then I blocked his number. I didn't even feel good after, just empty. Like everything I thought I had, love, trust, a future, was fake. The days that followed were a blur. Whispers at school, people staring. Some kids made jokes behind our backs. Others acted like they cared when they really just wanted the tea. Emily and I kept talking. It was strange, but comforting. We weren't friends before this. But now, in this messy, impossible situation, she was the only one who really got it. She came over to my house one day. My mom made tea and didn't ask too many questions. We went to my room, sat on my bed with pillows and snacks, and just talked. About everything. About how scared we were. About what our parents said. About what we wanted to do. Neither of us had the answers. "I don't know how to be a mom," Emily whispered. "Me either," I said. "I still feel like a kid myself." But somehow, we didn't feel completely alone anymore. And that was something. The weirdest thing is how sometimes the people you never expected become the ones you trust the most. After everything with Ryan, after all the crying and the breakdowns and the awkward stares at school, Emily and we just clicked. I think it was because we weren't pretending anymore. We didn't have to act like everything was fine. We were both scared, both confused, both 16, and both carrying a future we didn't plan for. She started coming over more often. We'd sit in my room or walk around the neighborhood just to clear our heads. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. But having someone next to me who was going through the same exact mess, it helped. We talked about names, even though we didn't know if we'd keep the babies yet. We laughed at how weird our cravings were. We cried when we talked about what we thought life would be like before all this. There were still hard days, like when Ryan posted pictures with his new girlfriend, or when people at school whispered behind our backs like we couldn't hear them, or when my body hurt from everything changing so fast inside me, and I didn't know if I could do this anymore. But Emily always answered my texts, and I always answered hers. And slowly I realized something. We weren't just surviving this. We were helping each other live through it. Our families were different. Mine was supportive. They didn't always say the right things, but they were there. My mom came to appointments with me. My dad built a rocking chair for the baby's room, even though I wasn't sure I'd even keep the baby. They said, "Whatever you decide, we'll be here." Emily's home wasn't like that. Her mom was angry, mostly scared. Her dad barely spoke to her. She felt like a shadow in her own house. So sometimes she'd sleep over at mine. We'd stay up too late, watching old shows and trying to imagine a world where this hadn't happened. One night we were sitting on my bed, lights off, just the glow of my salt lamp in the corner. She said, "Do you ever think about what life would have been like if none of this happened?" I nodded. "Yeah, all the time." She looked down at her hands. "I wanted to go to art school, move to New York, start fresh." "I wanted to go to college in Chicago," I said. "Live in a dorm, meet new people, maybe fall in love for real." She smiled. "Not with Ryan." We both laughed. It felt good to laugh. It felt like we were still teenagers. Still us. I don't know what's going to happen. I still don't have it all figured out. Some days I think I'll keep the baby. Some days I think I'll choose adoption. Some days I just want to disappear for a while and not have to decide anything. But I know this. I'm stronger than I thought. And I'm not alone anymore. And I think that matters more than anything. So if you're watching this, or listening, or reading, and you're going through something that feels way too big, way too fast, I want you to know you're not broken, you're not dirty, you're not stupid. You made a mistake. So did I. But that doesn't mean we don't deserve love, or support, or a future. I thought Ryan would be there. I thought he meant it when he said he had it under control. But it turns out he was lying to me, and to Emily. And now both of us are left picking up the pieces while he moves on like nothing happened. But guess what? We're still here. We're showing up every day. We're holding on. If you've ever felt like your life just exploded, if you've ever stared at a test and felt like the world stopped spinning, if you've ever sat alone in your room wondering if anyone would understand, you're not alone. I didn't choose this. Neither did Emily. But here we are, and maybe that's enough. So, what would you do? If you were me, 16, scared, and slowly learning how to be brave, what would you do next? Because I could really use some advice.